This show is everything to me. This world was the thing that taught me that there were other nerds. Smallville is everything. Before we bring them out, let's give it up for Smallville. Alright, we're going to bring out first to the stage, the one and only for my heart, Lana Lang, Miss Kristin. And say my favorite Lex Luthor of all time, Mr. Michael Rosenbaum. Sarah, Gene, and Jesse, and everyone else. And that's right, 2 minutes of Mr. Conway. I'll just pace. Yeah, I'll saunter. You have goals? I got no biases.
Go into the light, Caroline. The light is peaceful, Caroline. Don't go into the light!
Interrogation.
Poltergeist.
Feels good. All right, guys, as we settle in, I gotta say, I know they agree with me. To me, this is like Blade and Iron Man as foundational. You guys started this world. Was there a moment you realized, like, oh, we made this? Was there a season, an episode, a fan?
Well, then Michael did. You had multiple experiences where you realized that you were famous.
I remember going to see David Nutter, great director. You know David Nutter. Every pilot he makes turns gold, goes for a series. He's rich beyond belief. Game of Thrones, he did the Blood Wedding, Red Wedding. And he called me in to do some ADR, which is called, it stands for Additional Dialogue Recording, I believe. Looping. And I went in and he showed me the opening of the pilot. And that's when I said, wow, I'm on something good. Because I had good stuff that didn't ever make it. It wasn't that it was bad, some of it was bad, but I remember calling my parents, which was weird, but I said, hey, I think your kid might be famous after this. And they go, what? I go, I think this is gonna be a hit. And they had never heard me say that, so that was when I thought, hey, this is pretty incredible.
No.
Okay.
No, he's learning right now. That's Smallville's big show.
No, actually part of why I enjoy these conventions and even our podcast so much and rewatching. I'm sort of able to look at it now and enjoy it because I always saw it as like being in a submarine. You kind of get on the submarine, you go underwater for 10 months, you come back up. And the internet wasn't what it is now, phones weren't what they were. So the sort of jumping for joy for the success wasn't even around. So yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of hidden.
We were hidden.
Yeah.
I think we're just revealing we're very old.
All on the internet.
50, 45, 40.
I just told Kristin today, I don't agree with her getting older. She doesn't. It bothers me more than me getting older, because if she's getting older, that means I'm really getting older. Because she's younger. Michael can get old as he wants because he's older than me. You know what I'm saying? But when younger people get older, it's weird.
Now, speaking of time, these characters evolved with you over the years. What did you most want to change as you had so many seasons with these characters? You got long form with these archetypal characters. How do you feel like season 1 to season 10 was the biggest arc for you, other than dying? But like, how do you feel like?
I didn't die.
Well, I mean, we found out.
Obviously, no, Lex Luthor can't die. Tom, you start.
The biggest thing to say is I think between season 5 and 6, I think it became Metropolis, to be honest. I think once Clark got into Daily Planet with Lois, it became a different show. And then we had that red, blue blur thing. Which the worst part about that is that I had to listen to other people talk about a character called Red, Blue, Blur. It's just not sexy. I enjoyed the scenes because a lot of time I'm on a cell phone talking to somebody else and this is great, this is me. And like when you're on a cell phone in a scene and somebody's reading the lines off camera, you're actually listening. It's like easier to listen. And I mean that in the best way, when you're seeing with another person, there's just more dynamics and not one's better than the worst. But I hated it when Lois was like, "Did you hear the red blue blur?" I'm like, oh. Like, how come Clark never said, "That's what you guys came up with"?
I thought it was just a blur.
I think then they shortened it to that, but who wants to say blur? Blur. Yeah.
Next and only Smallville.
It's like saying rural. I live in a rural environment.
When you go from Superman to Blur, it definitely feels like a demotion.
Thank you.
Not a...
I just felt like for my character at least, I knew that in however many years, I have to go from good guy to the evolution of, becoming a bad guy. And so we were friends. You could see him trying to do the right things as he's in his father's shadow. And, it was a slow process. And there were moments where I just want to be evil. At times. And I realized we got to take it slowly and there's little nuances throughout. But when I finally pushed my father off the building, killed him, then it was kind of like, all right, now we're going.
Now that question in the inverse, how do you feel like this character changed you the most over that time? Like you lived this for a long time. What psychologically do you think you took from this character in your life growing up?
I think it's probably with Lana, it was less the character, more the experience of playing her. So being on set, learning how to find my own voice, learning how to speak up for what I wanted, to draw boundaries, to learn to articulate everything that was going on for me so that other people could understand it. And doing that through this character was wonderful for me at that age. Yeah.
Do you feel like today you still have moments where you remember certain impactful moments of you finding yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Really quick. Give it up for our sign language. Diarrhea. Explosive diarrhea. Thank you very much.
This intermission brought to you by I'm the Bad Guy. So any moment that you feel like changed you through the course of filming this, you guys were young adults shaping a culture. Was there a moment that really shaped you as a person from the show?
I remember thinking Michael was a really seasoned actor and really and then as time went on.
I have a method that works for me. Everybody has their own way of doing things. And, mine was, I was talking to you about this. Remember, it was very hard to play that character because regardless of what you're doing, it's always in your head. You're looking in the mirror, you're seeing that character. And so I tried everything I could to just enjoy life and make everyone laugh on set. And it was like, oh my gosh, diarrhea, running in action. Listen, and just almost forget about it until that moment. Know my lines backwards and forwards, and just kind of jump into it. And that was sort of what I did. But it weighed on me, though. It did weigh on me. Wearing suits all the time, and
listen. It's poor you.
Yeah.
No, but you literally, your head was shaped,
exactly.
even when you left set, it was
still
on you. You couldn't just take your ponytail out or wipe your makeup off. You were just weird.
Thank you. You know what's funny? Is we had a guest star, I remember season 3 or 4, and I'm in the makeup trailer, and Natalie Costco, who's amazing, Costco. I always think of the store, Costco.
Not Costco.
No,
It's
Costco. And they would put a mask on me because they would spray my head. I felt like Darth Vader or something. And I remember this beautiful guest star walks in and she's getting her makeup. She's like happy. And it's like, oh my God, here we go. I'm ready for the day. And it's like 5:30.
That's what she was like.
5:30 in the morning. Yeah. 5:30 in the morning. Don't breathe, I'm serious. Spraying me, and I'm like. And I remember doing this, I saw her in the reflection, I go. I'm much cuter with hair.
You were on that, right?
So the makeup that they used on his head, they ended up getting this thing that looks like a heater that you would put in a workshop, right? It's like this long, or a big speaker. And they would turn it on to suction out everything that they were spraying on his head. And I would go into the makeup trailer some days and I'd you know, I don't know, 5:30, whatever in the morning, and you go in and you think, I just turn on it and walk out. I was just like, I'm just not gonna be here for this. If you need that, I'll be back in 5 minutes when you're done. You know what I mean? Like,
That was the only time we had a crew call at 6 a.m. I was there at 4:30 in the morning. And then all of a sudden they go, all right guys, need you on set at 6:30. I'm like, been here 2 hours. Here we go. So I know what that's like. You know, when I worked on Guardians of the Galaxy and Dave Bautista would get there at 3 a.m. and you'd come in on set about 7:30. He's been in the makeup chair for 4 hours. You're like, holy shit, I get it.
I like that you couldn't leave Lex behind. They got to go home, and you effectively kept him with you for years.
Yeah, I think I did.
Now, in the same vein of these archetypal characters, I love that these characters, we identify with all of them because they represent so many things, and you guys play takes on these very important things. What was the main thing you tried to bring to Lana, to Lex, to Clark, that you feel like was your stamp that might differ from other interpretations?
well, what I tried to bring to Lana and Lex,
When you were playing the Blur, was there something?
I don't know if I was even very conscious of like a thing back then, but I think now that we're rewatching, I see this pattern of Clark just trying to learn. I think he was trying to learn from everybody and learn who he was, and you know, not really having a plan, just trying to figure out things. And it was written that way, which is helpful. Your character was much more trying to be ahead of it and everything else. So you probably had to have a plan.
I just, honestly, people ask me this question all the time, and they're like, it's an easy answer. Did you watch movies like Gene Hackman? Did you do research? Did you read the comics? I'm like, no, nothing. I just said, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna take my own approach. I'm gonna keep it real, grounded. Just try to be a human being in this show. Trying to be a human being who's struggling with who he is.
See, I was right. He was like a real actor back then. I was just like, huh?
I didn't want to be like anyone else. I just, I just wanted to be grounded. And that's how I still today believe Lex Luthor should be played. He should be the brilliant, stoic, conniving, manipulative, but genius that doesn't have to go crazy and act like the Joker and things like that. He just needs to be, very confident and carry that. So, anyway.
Which is always funny when we joke about your security guards all the time. Because you had people around you you had those henchmen, but then it's like everybody just walks into the mansion.
Always a
Anyone's violent, I have people for that. No, where are they?
First security ever, for sure.
Was there any Lana energy you wanted to bring in, especially rewatching the top film?
I think the question assumes like an understanding of the character and what came prior. So it assumes that you watched all the incarnations and you were like, I want to bring something new, and this is the new thing I want to bring. I had not. I didn't know what the other incarnations were. I didn't know like who this character was supposed to be. I was coming in really, really quite green. So I don't know if I really thought about it until much later. And then it wasn't in reflection, like in the context of other Lanas, it was more in the context of this character herself. Like I wanted her to have more agency, to have things that she wants for herself in her own life, to like start focusing more and more on who she is. And that's what I wanted to do as we move further.
Well, and plus you had like another job.
I did have another job.
You were on Edgemont. You were like, you were the one person with 2 jobs at the
I had
same
2
time.
jobs, many days a week for many hours.
We were young.
It was so useful.
do it.
Yes.
Actually, in that same vein, I've always wanted to know, you went from this set to one of my favorite, like, 2000 sex comedies of all time. You were the basis of my favorite movie song, Scotty Doesn't Know. What was it like that song? I mean, come on, guys, Scotty doesn't know. What was it like going from a teen drama to that within, like, a certain span of time? Was the set experience so different?
Wait, what is this?
Eurotrip. Scotty Doesn't Know.
She made out with Matt Damon. Tom, Tom, Tom.
Who has Lex Luthor best on?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because we were shooting in Prague, so it was an adventure for me to go to Prague and to have it, but it was just that whole scene was just one night shoot in Prague, dancing. My legs were exhausted the next day from dancing so hard. I don't know, it was fun.
Eurotrip, guys. Classic. Now, Michael, I love that the people adore different iterations of Lex Luthor, but I think you got the time to really like dive into it. And I know you're basing it mainly off yourself. When you watch other Lex Luthors, is there a moment of remembering your choices as an actor? Do you go, like, not comparing, but go like, I remember being in those shoes. That's a weird thing we did.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of these movies and things. I think we talked about that backstage. It's a tough question. I think mostly it's when I do watch other performances, I just try to say, you know, this is what they're doing, this is the direction they were doing. A lot of times you see a performance, and if you don't necessarily like the performance, a lot has to do with the direction. Sure. If the director's leading you this way, and you know the performance isn't good, because a lot of these actors are capable of doing a lot of things. And I just always thought Lex was a certain way. And that's how I played it. I played it like I wanted to play it. I wanted it to be, again, real. I wanted to feel like there were relationships and he had feelings and he was vulnerable and there was something in him that was raging that when he came out, it was like, whoa, I haven't seen that side of you. And that's where character comes to play. And yeah.
With Talkville, that's why I asked, because I find like your commentary on the character feels almost third party. Like it's really interesting hearing you talk about it, like you're removed from yourself as an actor and as Michael and as Lex. So it's like, this is a study of this guy.
It's so weird you're single.
I'm single right now, but I'm dating. I am dating, folks. No one cares.
I've always wondered, Tom, I heard you turned down this role initially, and much like noted other Boy Scouts, Captain America, so did Chris Evans. There's something about these characters that feels impossible because they're Boy Scout-ish.
Well, to be honest, it wasn't that, I wasn't that smart. What happened was, it was during a season in Los Angeles where everybody's trying to cast all their shows. And so especially as a new green actor, you're going out to a lot of auditions, multiple per day. And this just happened to be one of them. And one of the things that Smallville wasn't doing is letting anyone read the script. And the manager at the time, he goes, that means two things. They either don't have one, or it's really bad. And I didn't know anything about Hollywood, so I was like, well, he's the manager, this is what he does for a living. So we didn't fit that one in on that day. And from what I understand from David Nutter, is they'd gone through everybody and hadn't found their guy, so they went back to the pile of people they hadn't seen yet. And he had reached out, and then there was a conversation of, well, you know, can I read the script? And they said, you know, you come in, sign an NDA, you read the script in the office of Warner Brothers, and then you can, you know, decide. And I read it, and I was like, oh man, this is cool. This is just like some kid in high school trying to figure out what he's doing. The Superman of it wasn't there in a good way. It was about a kid in high school. And I remember leaving there just being like, cool, I just have some questions, you know? And so I asked Al Miles I go, can I meet with you guys? I just have some questions. And I walk into this meeting and there's like 13 people in a semicircle and one seat in the middle, like an interrogation. And I walked in the room and I was young and stupid enough to be like, oh, I see what you fuckers are doing. And I sat down and I had a notebook and I opened it up and I remember my first question was, are the villains going to be real, or are they going to be like alien spaceship weirdos? And they answered, and we just went through, I had like 15 questions. I was just like kind of stupid enough to ask. Usually people...
Great, Tom. That is, you don't normally... I would be very hard to do that. And I can do that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I felt the same way. I was like, I don't want to.
Because the more you talk, the feeling in the beginning is the more you're talking yourself out of the role. At least that's the fear that's presented. But this is one of those things where I was just, I don't know. And it just kind of worked out. And I remember talking to Al about it later, and he goes, that was like the dumbest conversation ever. Like, he remembers hearing that I wanted this call, and he's like, who's this kid think he is? And like, and Al's a beautiful guy, but he was like, we have to sit with this kid? But they were so screwed by not having anybody. Like, I was just the best option. So, if I'd have known that, I'd been a really big jerk.
But you know what? It's also Warner Brothers. I mean, this was the WB fraud. Let's be honest. Okay? These shows were not. I mean, there was some.
Listen, they were iconic shows. The WB.
No, I'm saying there were some good shows, but it was still pretty faces, very shallow writing, kind of bullshit, you know. It's just the way it was. Let's be honest.
A lot of family shows with a lot of heart.
It's just there wasn't a lot of substance. There wasn't a lot of like, I don't know. That's how I felt, and that's why initially I didn't feel like, what is this going to be goofy? It's going to be, oh, Superman, hey Clark, hey Lex, what little shit are you doing now, man? I'm up to no good. I didn't know that Smallville and the next WW Frog.
WW?
Whatever. And so it took me a minute to realize this is quality. This is something about this screams this. They want this to be quality.
And then we would show up to these photo shoots to promote the show. And you have a tendency to, you know, you can either be more like you in those, or you can kind of be a little bit like your character. There's like you don't make a choice, but there's always like a feeling of it. Like if we're doing a cast photo, and then all of a sudden they bring in the frog. And you're just like, this really isn't what we're going for, guys. And they're like, yeah, but it's the network. I'm like, that's the problem. There's a frog dancing around. Where's the peanut?
Dude,
Isn't that peanut?
I hosted one of these, what are the upfronts? I hosted, they asked me to host one of the upfronts, the announcements for shows. So it was a group of just people, all advertisers, and I didn't know. They just, you know, and you know, it was the year of the frog, the frog's around. So I get up there, imagine a podium is right here, a podium. And I made the mistake of going, oh yeah, well, got the frog right under this podium right here. No, just like that. Nobody laughed. And I was like, oh shit. These are the people I need to be joking around with. So you just, yeah, anyway. No one knew the show was going to be big. And you thought it was going to be campy. You thought it was going to be like, you know, and I didn't think I belonged. I looked at you guys, even for the first however many seasons.
You said this the other day on the bus.
And I was like, Tom, beautiful. Kristin, you're beautiful. And I was kind of like, not beautiful. I just bumped my head. I was maybe average. No, don't feel sorry for me. I just didn't feel like I could fit. Oh. And I thought they were going to fire me because I wasn't good looking enough. I swear to God. And then when they kept me, I was like, whoa, why are they keeping me? And they're like, because you're good. Oh, now because I'm good looking. But it worked out nonetheless. But I was looking, there was a lot of beauties, even the parents, everybody was beautiful. The guest stars were beautiful. Ian Somerhalder and diarrhea.
He's got to test out the new. As we get some fan questions, I've literally got like 3 hours of questions I want to ask these guys, but I know there's going to be fan questions.
You sit over there when you do it. So you can get videos of it.
You're setting up the single shot, which I respect. So as you guys line up, the last question I gotta know, and this is in the vein of Talkville, you guys are looking back on your young adulthood, and I have gotten to talk to you guys a little bit backstage. I love how aware of your lives you are, like now. Like you're looking at this analytically, you're all looking back on a time in your life. Not a lot of people get to do that on camera. Like usually people just have their memories of their experiences.
A lot of people get to just forget it.
And that's also cool.
They don't have to see it.
What's been the most fulfilling part of being able to, as an adult, look at your young adult life, both from a memory lens and an on-camera lens?
I will say it's right away I thought of the answer. I look back and it's nice to really think how lucky we were and are. How many people get to be on a hit television show that affects the world and has lovely people come and see them at cons and gets to interact with their fans, and we're super lucky, and lucky that we were on a good show. I felt like it was a really good show, well made, and you know, we're still friends, and I think we're better friends now that we're getting older and understanding each other a little more than we were, and we were able to make money and do what we love, and I mean, how many people get to do that? So people say, well, what's next? What's their careers, maybe, you know, after Smallville? Like, if you do one of the hit shows on TV, there's only really usually one place to go. It's like, well, nothing's gonna be as good. You might get a couple moments, but it's like, be grateful and just be like, what do you expect from me? Yeah. It's like, what do you want? 160 episodes, and I think you made an impact, and I'm proud of that.
Leave me alone!
Fuck off! All I ever did again, cares? When I was 80, I'd say, hey, I did the show where I was back. Yeah, it was cool, man. People
Dude,
like
you're
it.
still the voice of Lex Luthor in my Heaven and Earth comics, which is really cool. Like, there's not a lot of that, and that's a really special thing. So I've always wondered what it's like to look back and be like, I am the voice of Lex Luthor in this world.
It's cool, man. It's really, it's still exciting. When we go back and watch these shows, you know, it's fun because I never really watched a lot of them. Tom jokes about that every show. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
And it's also been something that I don't even remember what's happened, really.
Yeah, Tom's like, that was the key to the ship. All those keys were signing. That was the ship. Oh my God.
That's what it is, that people have these signing
We're
conventions.
finding so many
I don't know what that was.
I love the episode love affair you have with guest stars. You're like, that is amazing. God, I wasn't there for that. This is wonderful.
Yeah, it's cool to just take a look from the outside looking in and go, hey man, that was cool. Well, that didn't work. But God, why did you act like that?
It is a very unique situation that, you know, like, I guess, you know, if you worked at a bank, you'd be watching like CCTV camera footage of you at the cubicle, and like, that would be that much fun. But when you can look back at being on a superhero show, it is fun. I mean, you get to see your friends doing stuff. And like, we just watched the season finale the other day, and like Lana, it's got the three twisters that turn into one.
Oh, right.
I forgot about that.
Whoa.
And we were like, whoa!
Like an airplane.
Yeah.
That was insane.
There you go. And so it's like you got to kind of enjoy it. Where on the day, that probably took all day to shoot. So you're kind of just in the moments of the shots and whatnot. And, you know, and it's been 21 years. So it still looks great. I saw the door shut on you. That probably wasn't, you probably don't remember. Basically just what I said, you run out and you see the twisters and they turn into one. And as you turn back, the wind shuts the door. And on the podcast, I'm like, well, that's dangerous. You could have ran into that. That wasn't on purpose. And then you open the door and you get in. I'm like, look, she just rolled with it. And I'm sure the day, like, you just opened the door and got in. So it's whatever.
But
But
you gotta remember the turnaround for these effects. Like if you look back and you're looking at it now and go, oh, the effects, some of them don't hold up. But of course, they had a week, 2 weeks to do these effects. Where the Marvel movies, they have months and months, and obviously they're technologically more advanced than we were 20 years ago. But you can respect a lot of it.
Kristin, for you, the most fulfilling thing about just the dive back into seeing it objectively, remove this.
Well, I'm not part of this Talkville.
You were on an episode. You're gonna be on every
I was on it.
you're not rewatching
I'm not
on your own.
So I don't have the same experience, but I get to kind of hear about it through these guys, which is fun. But yeah, it is trippy. It's trippy that there's like a documentation of the work that you did at that time, who you were sort of, and then it's tied to all the memories that exist along with shooting those scenes, which links into the broader aspects of your life. Like it's a weird record.
Well, and then there's this absurd, what do you call it? Absurd sort of burden of convincing people you're not that person anymore.
Right.
It's really freaking weird that people don't
not hard for
understand
me.
that I'm not that guy anymore.
It's not hard for me. Wait, you're a goofball. You're not like Lex at all. That's not cool.
Yeah, it's not a suit and a belt at all. First question up, into the interrogation lights.
Yeah, no offense, but we can't see you at all.
It was a thrill watching Smallville, and my question today is to Clark. I enjoyed watching you play as the quarterback at Smallville High School. What was it like filming those football scenes? Did you enjoy throwing the football? Do you have a favorite NFL quarterback now or in the past? Thanks in advance for answering my question.
No, thank you. I always look forward to those scenes because I love throwing the football, and so. But what really happened was once you get on set, you don't get to have fun with it. Like in between takes, I'd be throwing the ball with the stunt guys and who can throw it further and all sort of stuff. But when you start shooting, it's more like shot by shot in a lot of those action sequences. And a lot of the time, I learned real quick that I lose my voice. Because I'd be like, 23, 22, whatever it was, and the next morning I didn't have a voice. And so I had to learn, like, you gotta, like, pace yourself. You can't just pretend you're a quarterback. You have to be an actor playing a quarterback, you know? So I learned a little bit there, but it was a lot of fun. And, yeah, I mean, I love watching Patrick Mahomes now.
Yeah! Go Chiefs!
And Brian Drew. You guys know Brian Drew?
Joe
You
Montana.
don't know Brian Drew, quarterback for the Browns? Kevin Costner was his coach. And they called him Draft Night.
Were you in it? Did you play that character? Got it!
I don't watch your movies either.
Hey, how much time do we have? Oh, what should you do? Rapid fire.
Sorry.
Shall we get
We
everybody's
have 15 minutes.
All right, well, rapid fire. Quick question, quick answers for the three of you.
We got this.
Hey, everybody, I love you guys for the show. I was just wondering if any of you have special memories of John or Annette where they helped you early on as young actors.
John helped me understand how to move around a table without walking out of the shot.
That's incredibly important.
If you know what I mean, like
It sounds stupid, but
Did he teach you how to do this?
yes. Yeah. So that's my quick answer.
also because Smallville had such tight close-ups, you had to learn how to not move.
John Glover, working with him every day it was like acting class, advanced acting coach. It was just watch him learn. That's it.
Thank you.
Hello. My question is, you guys got popular without social media. How would it be now if you were to get popular during social media?
I'll tell you what, the shows that I've been lucky enough to be part of since, there's an incredible amount of pressure to promote them by the actor. Incredible. And probably because I'm not used to it, but like, it's literally part of your job now to post from set and do all this other stuff where I'm just like, I'm too old for this shit. and I honestly, if on Smallville, if they would ask me that, I don't think I would have, I'd be like, guys, this is an absolute distraction from what we're trying to do. Like, it's absolutely a distraction. Yeah, it's good for the show, but you're also paying a publicist for the studio to do this. Why am I doing it? You know, so I'm a little, I'm a little difficult that way.
Think about this though, Tom. If social media was big back then,
Show would have been bigger.
no, of course, whatever. But instead of them saying, Tom, we need you to fly to do the Rolling Stone shoot magazine in New York and then come back and film, we need you to go to LA and do a photo shoot. They're like, we just need you to post.
That's not true. You
Sit
have
in your
to do
chair.
both.
You do?
You have to do both.
I mean, really?
They still do magazine shoots. They still do magazine shoots.
I don't read magazines.
I don't know.
The answer harder.
Harder.
Michael's like, well, apparently it's not effective. I'm not seeing any of this. It's not getting across my eyeball.
For Tom, the seasons after Lana and Lex left, I noticed you got executive producer credit. What does that mean when an actor gets executive producer credit, and what do you get to do with that?
Okay, well, the funny answer is they're not allowed to lie to me anymore. That's really the answer. When you get that credit, there may or may not be money attached to it. That's not the part I'm talking about. Some people get credit, not the money, or vice versa. But when you're an executive producer, that means when I go to the director and say, how many shots do we have left? They have to answer me honestly. They'll say 7. Now, if I didn't have that credit, and I'm the actor, and it helps when you're the lead actor, of course. But you're like, how many shots do you have? Well, I was thinking maybe, let's get these 2, and then I think we're about done. But when you're executive producer, they have to say 7. And I said, what time are we gonna wrap? And they're like, we have 45 minutes. If you're the actor, they go, well, we got a lot to do. So I don't know if that's almost too direct, but that's exactly what that is for me.
I think it's different for every person as well. For every actor, it's a different situation.
Yeah, fortunately, when I was doing this show for 2 years, I was executive producer, and I didn't realize the amount of work. You have to watch the cuts and give notes. And they're like, Michael, I'm starting filming. Yeah, I know, but you need to write the notes. I'd have to see casting with everybody and help them pick someone. There's a lot to go along with it, and it was a lot of work to do.
See, it just depends on how much you want to be involved, how much you're required. Yeah, because I think we've all been executive producers on various shows, and I think that the responsibilities are specific and kind of tailor-made to you.
It's also the other flip side of that is if you have that credit and you're a normal human being, you realize that there's responsibility attached to it. It's just not just access and glamour. But there was a lot of things that I remember when we were pursuing a producer credit, and I remember my lawyer was like, well, you have to take part in everyday production in order to be a producer. I'm like,
do. Constantly.
And that was the argument, and it worked. I mean, for me, it was like college. I was just trying to learn and grow and take as much out.
Rapid fire, here we go.
I'm not filmmaking.
All right, if James Gunn and the new heads of DC Entertainment could give you anything you want to greenlight, or anything you want, what would you want?
Well, James is a very close friend of mine, and so is Zach.
Rapid fire.
I know, but like, you know, it's, there's some...
Any more names you want to draw?
There's some things we could be pitching.
Sorry, Scorsese's calling.
But we could be... there's some pitching going to happen. I'll just say, I can't say what, but I'm definitely going to pitch some stuff. We're going to pitch one thing. Anyway, next question. Any guys? Nothing? All right, next question.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Michael, you already talked a little bit about John Glover, who is one of my absolute favorite actors.
We just recently had him on the podcast, which hasn't aired yet. And here's what I love it, because I have a very unique love affair with him. I was like, shut up, Tom, stop talking, because I was so happy when I talked to you.
And I mean, I just love everything he does. You can feel his intensity through the screen, and I wondered, is he that intense all the time? Like, what was it like working with him, like, day to day?
He was a joy. He was fun. He'd laugh. He'd mess around. I would make, we'd crack each other up. We'd make each other better. He was easy. He loved to talk about anything. He loved theater. He loved books. He was just a joy.
I think one of the things that you spoke to about him, and what comes across on the screen, is his ability to be present. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about him, is when you're talking to him, he's there with you. He's not looking past you, he's not looking at his watch or his phone, he's really there with you. And he's one of the kindest, he loves people, it's all love and presence, so, yeah. And then that, if you can turn, and as an actor, turns that into intensity, but it's still because he's there.
Thank you.
Question. Diarrhea.
Viewers at home have to drink it.
Okay, so my question is, with the animated series being pitched, would it be an adaptation of the season 11 comics or an original idea?
Original idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Kristin?
Diarrhea, just to clarify. that was for you. First of all, thank you all for coming to San Francisco. Really appreciate you. Coy, you're doing a great job yet again, buddy. He's been killing it all weekend. I'll just get to it. I love when ensemble clearly are pals. And you guys have known each other for, a while or not.
Wow.
What is the most innocuous, silly thing that only the cast?
Michael, he's the most silly.
Between all three of you, like a prank or something that, or like a through line through friendship too today.
I don't know. You and I didn't. We definitely got along, no question. We didn't mess with each other.
No.
We really didn't.
Not at all.
We had respect for each other. This guy, he could just goof around a lot, but he could goof around and then get into character where I was like, can you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to remember my first line.
I always thought that me and Tom, we liked Kristin more than she liked us.
To this day, it's probably.
We liked her. She likes us.
She puts up with
Like
us.
I don't know what to say to that.
There's a lot of, you'll see the photo up sometimes or whatever, and Michael's doing his thing up there, and you just hear from Kristin, oh, Michael. It's true. Oh, Tom. So she's very patient.
Love.
With love. Next question.
This is from Michael. What moment did you see that Lex Luthor? What moment did you think that it was foreshadowed that Lex Luthor was going to become evil in the show? Do you think it was the moment when Cassandra died after she read his future?
Very articulate.
Great question.
This question. I think, when...
Hey, James Lipton, take it easy.
I think Cassandra died in Hourglass, the episode Hourglass. That was really a moment where, is this coincidence or am I doomed? That was the kind of feeling I think that Lex felt like, you know, she.
So he was right.
She died while looking into his future. That's pretty dark. That was cool. There were little moments like that. When blood rains from heaven, that whole thing, yeah. So there's your answer, yeah. Good question.
What was the most like embarrassing thing that ever happened to you guys on set?
Why do you care? Just joking. Is that little Lana?
Yeah. Remember they had me in a green onesie on a green screen, just on wires, and they did it for an extra 20 minutes, just making me look like an idiot, telling me to do these poses like suck your face in, for no reason at all. Oh my God, they were all laughing.
He did this thing, it was me and Glenn, we were laughing. You ever try to laugh so hard but you can't make noise because what you're laughing at and hear it? I remember Glenn was like, put your hands up, and you're going like this. And then there's this moment where you realize that your hands are also in the green screen. And you're smart enough to realize if you move your hands like this but they're green, there's no reason to move your hands. And we're like, yeah, you're right. Let's try something else. Yeah.
So we're gonna try for 2 more, and then whoever's in line behind you folks, we're gonna take a group picture, so you guys get to come up here as an apology for the line waiting. So we're gonna do a group shot with 2 more questions, speed round.
Okay, well, Clark, Lana, and you too, Lex, diarrhea. I just wanted to get that out of the way, but before I ask my question, I just wanted you all to know this. Somebody say... All right, my first question is, and I'm going to make this one very quick. I wanted to know if you guys wanted to do Smallville again as a comeback, like all these other shows are making comebacks.
Like a holiday episode is
Actual comeback. Don't be doing that diarrhea crap, okay? But no, a real comeback, like you did in The Crisis, you know, on Infinite Earths thing. Would you want to actually make a comeback, you know? And bring Lana back too, because, you know, she's the heart of the show, of course, Clark is too. And Lex, yeah, he's
You know, I mean, as cool as it would seem, I mean...
Mark, what are you doing here? This is like, I own this hotel.
It could be cool. I mean, if we did it, we had ample time to, like, you know, I don't know if it would work.
I don't know if it
was
would work.
the end of the, like, everybody kind of was going to do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
You were supposed to become Superman. I was supposed to become the villain. Lana took off.
I don't know if it's a joke, but we always talk about that Lana became a superhero on her own.
Yeah, that's what she seemed like.
Yeah.
Quietly.
I want to be able to get into acting, and I would love to be able to act with you guys, because you already saw that I have some talent already. So, but basically, I'm not boasting, but I would love to work with you guys one day. And, you know, it's a pleasure to be able to finally be able to talk to you. My knees are shaking as I'm talking to you right now.
You're awesome, buddy.
So you guys are OGs, you're legends, so I love you guys. So.
You're awesome. Here we go.
All right, last question.
How many people are behind?
They're gonna come up front. We got like a...
Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name is Grace. I wanted to say...
Grace was Smallville Lights.
Thank you all for coming to the Bay Area. And my question is, so in season 4, all of you worked with Jensen, and I want to know if you have any favorite
My
memories.
grandson.
I quickly remember Jensen and I being somewhere underground, being kidnapped.
Oh, yes.
Handcuffed to the ceiling, and they wanted us both shirtless. I'm like, come on! You don't have to both be shirtless, you perverts. And I put the shirt on. And I opened up the buttons, but I was it. Come on. Jensen's probably...
Nothing, I just remember that. It was a funny day. Jensen was lovely to work with. I worked with him almost that whole season. And he's a sweetheart, and he's kind, and he's good at his job, and he's fun to work with. He was great. I don't have any specific stories, but he was just a joy.
What was it like casting?
I remember we did a football scene. Obviously, he played my coach, and we were about to setting up the shot, and hey, he's there and I'm here, and I'm sitting next to him, and everything you said about him and he looks at me and goes, "So I'm supposed to be your coach?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right." And we just went on with it, Like he is like, again, he had a lot of experience. He's a great dude. And he hasn't aged a bit.
One of the best
seen
guys.
Him
Yeah. I'm so happy for his success because if anybody deserves it, it's him. He's a beautiful human being. I love Jensen.
So that is all the time we got, folks. But anybody who can come up here, we're going to take a big group photo with everybody. And these guys are going to be upstairs, so head on up to see them. They're still going to be here.
For a very limited time, and then we got to fly out. So come see us for the love of God.